everyone, welcome to Tennocon Review with Makari. We're going to go through the VOD from Tennocon, and we're going to have a little look at everything that was announced, a little bit, the things that were important at least, and we're going to analyse them, think what's good about them, what we might like more of, what we really enjoyed, what we didn't enjoy, or at least what I think is the important parts of Tennocon, other than the fact the event itself was huge and amazing. There was like 370,000 people watching it. So sit back, leave your comments in the description of the video down below, let me know what your favourite part of Tennocon was, and Twitch chat, say hi. They're joining us with this as well. This is done being directly on my Twitch channel. If you want to come and join us, there's a link to my Twitch channel in the description. Please do come and join us if you wish. So, first things first was the reveal of Warframe on the Switch, which this video here shows in quite a lot of hilarity. One of the things I absolutely love about DE, every time they do primetime, there's always this level of acting and hilarity to it, where they always added a level of comedy. I love that element. But on to the important part.
For the first time in history,
we finally have, and people have been asking this for years, right? People have been asking for Warframe on the Switch for donkey's years, and it's finally happened. It's finally happened. The thing that I mentioned this earlier, the thing that's going to be interesting is to seeing how this is going to be updated, because the Switch doesn't get updates like most other consoles does. So it's going to be interesting to see whether this keeps in line with the PS4 and Xbox or not, or what. But Panic Button are a well-known, reputable company who have done many other ports in the past. They bring a lot of these non-Nintendo-esque games and bring them to Nintendo in a much more refined fashion, and it just does them a lot of justice. So it's interesting that they've finally taken this plunge. So I don't know what you guys think. It's going to be another way to bring more people in, and that's the main thing. It's exacerbating that idea of inclusivity, because Warframe has always been about including everyone. And now that they've branched out to another platform, there's going to be even more people that are able to join who wouldn't have been able to before. Because not everyone, there are some people who can only really get a Switch who don't have a PC or access to a good enough PC to play. So the people who've only had access to a Switch before, they don't have access to this free-to-play game that is insanely good. So it's going to be interesting to see how this affects the community in the future. So, moving on, we then have, I think the next part, I think the main part everyone was like super interested in was Fortuna, but I think there was one other thing between then and that part. So yeah, we have the skins. Let me just try and switch back here to the start of the skin segment. So there are a bunch of very interesting skins, starting with the Mirage one. I liked all of these skins that they showed off. The majority of them were really nicely done, and the fact that they're, especially this Nyx one, this Nyx one was designed by someone from the community, and they ended up onboarding it into the actual deluxe skins itself, which is pretty cool. So it's great to see that level of community interaction from DE. Like, this is the thing, it's one of the things about DE. They always do have an element of bringing in community designs and letting the community help affect the content. I'll be real, I don't like this Limbo skin. I do not like it. Me personally, I like Limbo being a top hat type skin, a dapper, elegant skin. This looks a little bit tweaky, a little bit weird, bit out of the normal for him. The Titania skin though, oh that is phenomenal looking. That is so cool. If you're just tuning in, guys, we're just doing a YouTube video for the summary of Tennocon, and we finally got Daddy Nezza. Nezza is no longer a flamboyant, twinky, femboy looking thing. He's now a big, butch, Chinese, oriental, dragon-looking daddy frame. Good lord, he looked good. And Nidus. The Dulux Nidus skin that everyone's been looking forward to. This thing looks insane. And the fact it still evolves, that is really cool. And it was great. It was the guy that made this ended up then incorporating a Kubro skin in there as well, which is great. I absolutely love that. I mean, the craftsmanship from the community alone is insane. It's so good. So then we had, what was the next part? I think the next part was, oh yeah, so then we come to Fortuna. Let me just set this up properly. So, for those who don't know, Fortuna is the next big part of Warframe. And this introduction, I'm gonna be quiet for this bit because this song is beautiful.
Woo!
Jerry, thank you for the follow, dude. Appreciate that.
And water flowing hard, the land we call our home. Push to keep the dark from coming. Feel the weight of what we owe. This, the song of sons and daughters. Hide the heart of
So
who
catchy.
we are.
Very railroad worker type chant, you know what I'm saying?
Future, strong, united, working till we fall. The air and water flowing hard, the land we call our home. Push to keep the dark from coming. Feel the weight of what we owe. This, the song of sons and daughters. Hide the heart of who we are.
Very atmospheric.
Peace to build a
Something DE have been good at since the dawn of time. Atmosphere.
working till we fall, and we're all left, and we're all adrift together,
So that is probably one of the most beautiful intros I've seen to anything. It's thematic, it's got a good atmosphere, and it works. It just works. And that's something DE have been good at since the dawn of time. Ever since the Second Dream, they have been able to create such a beautiful atmosphere that is thematic to what's going on. And I think it's worth talking about the type of characters here. I feel like this is almost like a Ready Player One scenario where these people are working off debts and whatnot. I mean, again, this is my speculation. I have no idea what this is all about. If you know what this is about, guys, please do leave a comment in the comment section of this video on YouTube, please. And if you actually want that song as well, it's currently up on my YouTube. Thankfully, I managed to record it. So yeah, Fortuna. This thing looks amazing. Yeah, so that whole debt enslavement. That it does feel like that whole Ready Player One thing where you're working off your debt in the game itself, although it's obviously not in the game. But what I find quite interesting is the fact this entire race of people have opted into body augmentation and they no longer have heads. That's so weird. I mean, it's such a stylized decision, and it makes them so unique in the way they look. Like, these characters and these figures have such an amazing silhouette to them. Like, you completely blank out the character with no features, and their silhouette would look amazing. So the next thing we have is obviously the Zors, which is now secondary Zors. We're now going to have the ability of building our own secondaries. So much like you had the Zors from Plains of Eidolon, we now have the ability to do that with secondaries. It's going to be great. It's going to be more mastery, more guns, more stuff of that nature. It's great. Then we have the mowers. My favorite one, because it has a top hat. Now, obviously, it depends whether this is going to take the place of your active pet or not. I would imagine it would do. But this is something that DE is doing extensively well. They listen to their audience. They listen to the community and what they want for the enjoyment of the game. Obviously, there's a level of end game disconnect, but still, the part that makes the most value is what you get in the content, and this adds to it in an unprecedented level. So seeing these moddable, changeable mowers that you're going to take with you into the world is insane. So, speaking of going into the world, we then obviously have the bounties. So we're actually going to get out there in a moment. If we just skip through here a moment. And obviously you've got, this is obviously going to be much like Cetus from the Plains of Eidolon. It's going to be like a little hub area that you can stick to. You choose your bounties, you go out there. But obviously, one of the things that I was looking at most notably when Fortune was going to be developed first was how have they improved upon the Plains of Eidolon? Because the Plains of Eidolon was a development of an idea that had never been tested before with DE. And they were going to test the idea of open world to the audience and see what came of it. And then Venus was going to be what they'd learnt and moved on from that. So here we have it. Venus! It looks amazing. Obviously, in real life, Venus is this inferno of nothingness that you can't stand on. It's like 900 degrees. But this looks... It almost looks like Zangarmarsh from World of Warcraft, for those who know that. And just... the atmosphere is amazing. It's insane. It feels wildernessy. It feels just desolate almost. But there's a lot more life. There's a lot more activity on this one. It actually feels like you're going into a wilderness rather than just an empty, barren plain. What's my thoughts on Tennocon overall? It's really good. I mean, we're going for it now. We're explaining what I liked, what I didn't like, what could be improved, lots of stuff. Morrowind. Actually, you know what? I entirely agree with you, Mortimengo. It does have a bit of a Morrowind feel to it. I would entirely agree. So, we obviously get a lot of lore with Venus. There's a lot of Orokin presence here, like the Orokin who have obviously been gone for donkey's years. They're using the Orokin technology to obviously convert Venus into a habitable planet. And this is obviously a corpus-heavy area. Whether we then see Infested or Grineer down the line, who knows? But the bounties are going to be a lot more involved. They're going to actually have an effect on the environment. As you complete bounties, you're going to be able to unlock these outposts. And as you unlock the outposts, you're then able to take your bounties from these outposts. So as we see here, I think. Just get through the fight, because this is the process of them liberating. There you go. So you liberate the outpost, and then you get to take your bounty whilst on the plains, which is a lot more synergistic. It means you don't have to constantly go back to the town, which I think is great. It feels like there's actually a lot here now, and seeing all these ships flying around, and all the wildlife, and the plants, and the buildings. Like, the thing that Cetus did was it was very good for being open world, but it didn't have much feeling. And obviously, this is what people got really hyped over. Hoverboards. Mother freaking hoverboards. But that does raise the question, are Archwings actually going to be a thing? I'm tempted to say that Archwings are not going to be allowed on Venus, because at least doing it this way, you're forced to explore rather than use a cheaty method of using Archwings. Because although the Archwings were a great method of transport in the Plains of Eidolon, it didn't really leave much to imagination, because then you could just fly on over somewhere, you'd never have to explore the area. And doing it this way, you at least get to travel fast, but you get to do it in style, and it forces you to actually go to the place. You know? You're not just gonna skip half the map to get there. So I seriously hope they don't allow Archwings on Venus. That's just my personal opinion. So obviously this is the next element of the Venus open world, animal hunting. So there's a big push towards hunting. Like, you actually have to track the animal to find where it ends up going, and then you have to lure it in with your lures, and then wait for it to come to you, then trank it. And this is basically the fishing of Venus, unless there's other things. Because we're only going over what they showed. There was obviously a lot more that was put into this from what they showed, from what they were talking about. There's like some other gimmicks and modes that were in this. The question I have is, how does the lure work? And Siren pointed this out to me. You're using a lure, but how? Because you can't breathe through it. Magic. That's what it is. Magic. So no, this is amazingly cool. I love this addition. There's a different version of fishing. I mean, there's probably going to be fishing as well, more than likely.
We did say mechanical fishing.
So we'll see. Well, it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes. So obviously you wait for it to come along. The animal comes along. You trank it. You pick it up. I'm going to be very interested to see the diversity of wildlife you're able to capture with this. It's really cool looking, though. It's really cool looking. It's a very, Metal Gear Solid 5, where you airlift troops out of the map. I mean, these animals look really well designed as well. Like they are. That thing is adorable. That is adorable. Alright, moving on. So that was obviously another element. We're going to skip forward now until we get to the next segment, which I believe... obviously you have these little skittery robots. Thanks to the church across the road for confirming this to me. Can I get a bong in the chat, please? You know that Warframes breathe, right? Yes, but the point I was trying to make was the fact that you put it on the mask, like there's no breathe holes.
What are you trying to say is a Warframe doesn't have a mouth?
So moving on, you then get this segment where they show off these new robots, the spider bots. These things again designed and look amazing. They are really cool looking. This is the thing about Venus that I'm appreciating a lot more. There's a lot more new things. They've designed a lot more new elements with a lot more new models, and nothing really other than some of the base models have been really reused. Like I believe about 80, maybe 75% of what you see out here is entirely new models. And then obviously you get this. Now the question is this going to be the placement of the Eidolon? Is this going to be the big world fight that you do to get your end game loot for the open world here, or is this going to be just another thing that you fight? You know, that's the question. That's what I want to know. But we're obviously not going to find out for a while yet. They obviously teased us this. They didn't really show us how to fight it. So that's pretty much it for what they showed of Venus. There wasn't too much else with Venus itself. But then they moved on to the next big thing, which is the space battles. And this bit gave me shivers. Seeing the ship fly in from this segment literally sent a shiver up my spine. I don't know about you guys. Something about the ability of having this ship where you work together with your team fills my heart with joy, because this is something that people have been wanting for God knows how long. And this is something that I think could be expanded on even further, you know. This is something that's going to open up entirely new avenues for Warframe and Digital Extremes to really push for. The ability of being able to go into space with your team and fighting gigantic ships. This is what people have been wanting for years. And now with the advancement of their technology, of their development team and whatnot, we finally have it. And this is the part I am most hyped for. I can imagine there's still going to be some development into it, but the thing is, this is looking solid. This is looking pretty damn complete already.
Welcome aboard, operator. Operators. This is a Sigma Series relic, a multi-fuel interceptor.
Reminds me of Attacking a Titan, Battlefield 2142. Yeah, no, I think something to realise is that a lot of what Warframe puts in is a lot of what the community wants, but a lot of what the community wants is inspired by other games. So they say, oh, this is a sci-fi game, we want to see something that maybe another game did, but do your interpretation of it. I think that's entirely fine. Having inspiration from another game, but using your own version of it is entirely fine, because it adds your variation of that game type. And this obviously takes it to an entirely another level, because you have the ability of changing your ship and being able to mod and change the way your ship fights by the looks of it. I mean, again, skepticalness may not happen, you never know. But just the fact that it's seamless. Being in this ship, everything you do in this ship happens outside. Everything happening outside, it works together. It's seamless, you know? Like, it creates this very... It's that very immersive thing where even when you jump onto this giant ship, the things going on around you are still happening, you know? They're not affecting you. You know? That's the great thing about it. So we're going to skip forward just a little bit. I mean, this is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. But, I mean, most of you are probably already seeing this, so we're just going to skip ahead a little bit. And then we're going to get to the space segment. So, again, look, this looks a lot like EVE Online, just with the style of it. And I'm really happy to see that they've redesigned the Corpus main ship. It actually looks like a ship now rather than a gun. But this feels epic. This is something people have been wanting, is just the epicosity of space battles without the fiddliness of Arcwing. So having this like space battle kind of thing, it feels so epic. And there's not much else to really say about it. It's just you're in space fighting spaceships with your spaceship. And I think, as I said earlier, there are a load of different avenues that can be taken with this now to expand upon this. Maybe bring this back to the planes of Eidolon. Maybe even have PvP mode. This almost feels Guns of Icarus-y, where you could, in theory, have PvP modes with this. Could you imagine signing up to a mode where you get into your ship, and you go up against 3 or 4 other teams of players who are in their own ship, and you have to either board each other or destroy each other's ship? Could you imagine that? I think that's because the thing about PvP in Warframe is that it doesn't work when you do player versus player with your frames, because you're based on the mods you have. Doing this, there's very minute changes you can make to have a preferential playstyle, and because of the preferential playstyle, it's not going to really matter on the amount of mods you have. So you can have a much fairer engagement, because then it's just down to your execution. And this would be amazing to see in a PvP. Just fighting galleon, your ship versus another player's ship, or maybe like multi-ship battles. Because obviously, like I said, the whole Guns of Icarus field with repairing the ship, fixing things up, having multiple battlements you can go onto, it is incredibly influenced by teamwork. So then obviously we moved on to the segment where they start getting ready to board the enemy aircraft. And this just, again, seamlessness. You seamlessly go from your ship to the enemy ship with the encouragement of teamwork to help the person boarding to sabotage the enemy ship. I would love to see this with a Grineer version. This would be amazing. It would definitely add another element for people to enjoy the game with. And the question, I suppose this raises the question, what is the reward going to be for this? Is this going to be more bounty rewards? Is there going to be specific, more quote-unquote end-game rewards? I don't know, but it's really funky looking. And the thing is as well, you gotta wonder, are these tile sets for the inside of the ships gonna be set? Is it gonna be the same every time, or is it actually gonna be different every time you go in? So you see, even when you're stuck on the ship piloting the aircraft, you're still able to help the person inside, which is great. You're not just left there to do nothing whilst the guy on the inside has all the fun. But this feels amazing. This is something that people have been wanting for God knows how long, right? The ability of having massive space battles whilst infiltrating an enemy ship and destroying it from the inside that actually makes an impact on the gameplay, you know? Because this goes, the ship's gone. And I'm hoping that this isn't just the only version of this we're going to get. I'm hoping there's going to be like maybe 1 or 2 more locations, or maybe 1 or 2 more map types of this. I mean, even if this is all we get, this is still so amazing. This is still a great start.
Right now, Meg looks out the window. She's gonna see Rebecca flying that ship with Danielle on the gun.
So you see, there's that seamlessness of being able to see each other, even whilst you're going around your job of doing this whole blasting out the inside whilst blasting out the outside. It's seamless transitions and helping each other from one side to another that really reinforce the idea of teamwork. So I think, to summarize this, it looks amazing. It feels amazing. I want to see how this progresses from this point onwards. But above all else, I want to see what they then take from this in the future. But yeah, I don't know, what do you guys think about this? To me, this is my favourite part. This is definitely my favourite part. I am so looking forward to this when it comes out. Almost kind of feels a bit like Pacific Rim kind of thing, where they change up their gun positions. This is looking so polished. It's looking polished, it feels polished. I can imagine there are bugs out the ass. This is obviously something they this is something they've obviously worked on for a while. So they've obviously practiced. And the question is, how much is this going to tax a typical system, you know? If I'm running on a potato, am I still going to be able to play this? That's another question. And then obviously we get that at the swift end to end out the segment. And, you know, railjack. Bravo, DE. Bravo. Makes, like, every time DE does a Tennocon, they always up the game every single time. And every single year, it gets more and more and more hyped. Now, there was one other thing that they showed off at the end of this, which I think is just worth mentioning. So for those who completed the sacrifice, this is something you guys should probably pay attention to. Alright, so this is the other element they were showing. So they said, they very teased quite nicely at the start that if you've played the sacrifice, if you haven't played the sacrifice, don't watch. So obviously it's a very early teaser. Yo, 026, thank you for the follow, dude. Welcome to the stream, I appreciate that. I tip my hat to you, sir. This raises loads of questions. So, you get mentions to the old war a lot when you go through the initial quest lines in Warframe. And again, we get to see the lovely new model for Lotus being turned into a Final Fantasy X boss.
What must I do?
It raises a Lotus questions. Oh, bravo, Heen. Bravo. So, there we have it. That's the next main questline coming to us soon. The Old War. So, sorry, the New War even. To summarize, a bunch of new stuff coming. Warframe is going from strength to strength to strength. And I can only hope that it's going to get better and better and better. And there is so much promise of what was shown at Tennocon. So, again, let me know what you thought about this, guys. Let me know what your favourite segment of Tennocon was in the description of this video. Leave a like, leave a share, and a subscribe, and I will see all of you guys in the next video. And if you want to get hold of the Fortuna intro song, again, that's on my YouTube as well. I might leave a link to that in the description as well. So thanks again for watching, guys. I'll see you all in the next video. Ta-ra.